welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ghosts. I am your host, SunRayki. On this episode, I actually pulled an interview that I did a couple years ago with my good friend Jaimie. She is an amazing medium and has many abilities, and she shares them with us on this episode. This is going to be part one, so make sure you are subscribed, you follow, you like, all that good fun stuff. Today I'm going to be talking with my good friend Jaimie. She is on her own spiritual path, same as me, and she does a lot of amazing things that I want to share with you guys. And the reason why I want to do this is because I want other people to feel comfortable experiencing their spirituality and the things that happen in their experiences, and I don't want you guys to feel so alone. I learned a lot on my path. I learned a lot on my path by listening to other people's stories. So what I'm doing here today, I'm adding Jaimie in right now. So as soon as she connects, we'll be able to talk to her and learn about some of her experiences. Hi, Jaimie. I'm so happy we connected.
Hello, my love.
How are you?
Sorry about that. We had a few technical issues with me.
It's okay, technology. It always happens when I do things, anything spiritual, and talk about, our paths and our experiences. I always have some kind of technical difficulty with
Oh,
electronics. So
really?
I do. It's really weird.
I do as well. When I do my Facebook Lives and stuff, I tend to have a few issues sometimes, and I'm not very technical minded. So,
Yeah, I'm not either. So that very well could be the problem too.
oh, bless you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Kind of like what I was telling my viewers is the main reason why I do this and want to share our experiences and our stories is to help validate things for other people. I learned a lot by listening to podcasts and stuff like that about other people's spiritual journeys and experiences that they had, and it helped reassure me that I wasn't so alone and that I wasn't going crazy and it wasn't my imagination. So that's why I'm doing this now, and I really appreciate you doing this with me and being here with me.
You're
Do you
very
want to go ahead?
welcome.
Do you want to go ahead and
I,
tell us a little bit about yourself?
yeah, okay. Well, I'm a psychic medium and a healer as well. But there's so much more about me spiritually. I am a natural shaman. It's stuff that remembrances and abilities that have found me in this life that I've had in others. And I had a spiritual awakening, I think it was about 3 years ago now. And it is really amazing how quickly I've evolved and all of the things that have happened and all the amazing, beautiful experiences that I've had within that time. And to think that that long ago, like before I woke up spiritually, I didn't know that I had all of this within me, and I will get to all of that, but yeah, that's what I do. So I do a lot of healings. I do channeled messages with spirit guides, loads of other stuff. But yeah, um, would you like to know a bit about my journey?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, tell me about your journey.
So I've had spiritual abilities all my life, as far as the psychic side, and I could see, hear, and sense spirit. My mum is a medium as well, so it's sort of ran in the family. Um, but so much of my life, I locked my spiritual abilities away because they scared me. I wasn't ready for them in any way, shape, or form. The psychic abilities I embraced from an early age, though. My mum would be doing readings and for friends and family, and I'd be in the room and I just would randomly start picking stuff up too. So I sort of ended up doing readings with my mum at the
That's
age of 12.
wonderful.
But yeah, the as far as the mediumship goes and being able to sense spirit and stuff, it scared me. So my mum showed me how to sort of shut it off, and I was in denial of it my whole life. it was just a coping mechanism to protect myself because I wasn't ready for it. um I lost my faith in a lot of things because sort of traumas that I went through in my life. And my mum used to say to me about healing and stuff like that, but it was the denial was my way of protecting myself. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't feel safe. Because being able to have that vast oneness with spirit and not being ready for it and not wanting it, it just scared me. So like I embraced the psychic side of things way before I did with spirit. But it was like I was shutting a whole big piece of me away all of my life, right? And um but I was meant to experience the whole journey that way because of how it all came about. um and basically, I went through a lot of struggles in my life. I was homeless with a 2-year-old little boy. I've been through a lot of violence and abuse and stuff in my life, so I've had my traumas. And back then I was consumed by my pain. I thought that this was all there is. I didn't know what I was capable of. I had no clue of my power. I had no clue of my gifts and what I would one day be doing and what an amazing difference I would help people make in their life. I had no idea. I had no clue, right? And it's just really amazing how my spiritual awakening happened. I used to suffer with depression, in fact, as well. And I would do readings, psychic readings for my friends and things like that, like not professionally, but I would do it as, for my friends, just as a favor to them and stuff. And I would use tarot cards to sort of help me connect. I started off with tarot cards. The way that happened was just so natural. I just picked my mum's cards up one day and knew what to do. It was all intuitive. But yeah, so I used to read for my friends. And then this sounds crazy, but spirit works in amazing ways, right? My cards disappeared and I could not find them anywhere. I looked all over my place. They went, I couldn't find them for 9 months. And my friends were like, you should just buy some more, like, buy some more. Why don't you buy? I was like, no, I know that they will turn up. I knew that for some reason I wasn't meant to read at that time, right? I knew that they'd gone away for a reason. And I knew that somehow they would work their way back into my life, right? So 9 months goes by, and I've changed everything in my home. I've changed my bedroom, like put downstairs. The whole place has been moved around, new furniture and stuff, right? And it's one day, when it had been 9 months, I got talking to someone off of a Facebook group, an empath group. I just discovered that I was an empath and I was just exploring that. And I told him that I did readings, and I said I told him about what happened with my cards, and he said, don't tell me how I know this, but they're going to turn up today. They're going to turn up today. And I was like, what? Like, they've been gone for 9 months. Do you know what I mean? And he said, I see them in a drawer. So I thought, great, that would be amazing, because I really wanted, that was a really big part of me, and being able to do that and help my friends and family, it was really amazing, right?
It is.
So yeah, I went about my day. And later on that day, I was upstairs laying on my bed having a bit of peace from my children. As much as I love them, I needed a bit of me time. And I was laying there and I was really drawn to some drawers that I didn't even own when they were missing. And crazy as it sounds, I pulled that top drawer open, and there, right on the top, was my tarot cards.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, they were just reappeared when I was ready, right? And this is how my spiritual awakening started, right? I'm getting to that point now. Bit of a long story, isn't it, to get to that point, but it's very relevant because they disappeared. You know what I mean? They was spirit. Spirit works in that way. It's so amazing, right? And so anyway, I was so grateful that he brought those cards back into my life, or he played a role in them coming back into my life, should I put it.
Yes.
And I did him a reading to say thank you. And the reading not only resonated for him so strongly, it was really deep and profound. I've got to say, it was one of the best readings I'd ever done at that point. And it really resonated with me as well, my soul, right? It really resonated with me. And after doing that reading, it triggered me and this person into a spiritual awakening. And yeah, I just woke up spiritually. The first thing was I could feel nature with such strong intensity. I can feel the soul of the wind, the trees, everything. It
Yep.
was like I woke up into a whole new world. And my whole life changed. My whole life changed. Everything that I know now, I learned from my experiences. I went from not believing in anything. I wanted to believe in a higher power, but I lost my faith in an abusive relationship. He sort of bullied it out of me, right? So I'd lost my faith all those years. And then it's like all these amazing experiences found me. I can't explain it. My whole life changed. I started to heal myself deeply. I discovered who I was without all the trauma, that I was not my pain, that I was not my suffering, and I was not my limitations. And my psychic gifts got so much stronger. I started to embrace this spirit side of things. It's just mad how it all happened. I went to Circle to learn how to protect myself more because my gifts were so much more open, and nothing worked, nothing simple worked. So at Circle, I started embracing my gifts. And when I did, I developed so many more that I didn't even know existed. I did not know that I had all of that within me, you
That's
know?
that is absolutely beautiful, and that's kind of how it happened a little bit for me too. And going back to you weren't ready for it and stuff. A lot of what I experienced personally for me is it takes a lot of inner trust
Mm,
to open yourself up to that. And it's almost like we're leaping off a cliff, and we have to completely trust that what we're going to is going to protect us and help us
mm,
heal. And so it does take a lot of courage to get there. I totally understand that. And
mm,
being depressed, I mean, I was there too. It's really hard
mm,
to pull yourself out of that, but once you do, and it is an amazing feeling being connected to spirit. It's a reassurance. You feel protected. You can feel the energies all around you. So it's wonderful.
mm. It really is amazing. It changed my whole life, and I just think it's brilliant you doing what you do to put that voice out there so that people know and understand what's happening to them, because it can be very unnerving. There was times where I had to check myself. I'm like, gosh, am I going crazy? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
especially
do.
when I don't know whether you've heard of abilities like this, but aerokinesis, where you can manipulate the wind.
I
And
actually
that
learned
happened.
it from you.
All right, okay. Oh, that's amazing. That's so great. That's such an honor to share that, you know. Um, but we have so much power within us. We are capable of so much, and we are so much more than this human vessel. We are so much more than this realm. There is so much out there, and I find it so sad that some people don't ever get to witness that. You
Yes,
know,
I agree. I agree.
their power, and we are so powerful and capable of so much more beyond our imaginations, you know, beyond what we can comprehend, right? um with the wind, I was at my friend's house, and it all happened by accident. I didn't know that aerokinesis existed. I didn't know that people could have elemental abilities right like that. I had a lot of guidance from different Facebook groups and stuff like that, and basically I just watched some people talking about that we create our own reality, and it really resonated for me really strongly. And I was on that chapter where I was learning to accept that and really comprehend that, right? And it's like something within me on a deep level. I found my power, and gifts that I had in past lives just found me, you know. But the story of how the wind abilities developed, where I was at my friend's house for dinner, and it was nighttime. It was in the middle of summer. There was not even a breeze outside, and she took me outside. It was to show me these little solar lights that she'd put in her garden. And I was a little bit absent-minded that night, and I really did love them, but I didn't sound very enthusiastic when she showed me. And I like to joke around, right? So I was like, I didn't sound enthusiastic. She was like, "Oh, is that it?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna have a laugh now." So me being the joker that I am, I jumped into the air and I went, "Yes!" And with that, the wind came out of nowhere, really, really strong wind, just like that, out, not even easing into it, just was all, and it was staying windy for 8. And I looked at her, we looked at each other, and I was like, as crazy as it sounded or felt to even imagine that, it was just undeniable. And I looked at her, I said, "Did I do that?" And she was freaked out, and so was I. And she goes, "I think you did." And I said, "Okay, I've got to see." So I went, "Stop." And with that, out and it went back to complete still night, right?
That's
And
amazing.
coming to terms with that, like if I was on my own and I didn't have her to witness that, I would have thought that I was going crazy. Do you know what I mean? I would
I
have
do.
thought that I was going mad, because something so amazing and powerful, like I didn't even, I thought that stuff like that only exists in comic books, like telepathy and all of this stuff. It's all real, right?
Yes.
Like to because I've experienced telepathy. I can connect with trees, souls of trees and nature, and I've been doing readings and I could hear people's thoughts before, and it's all real. And this is what I mean, we've got so much power within us that we
Mhm.
don't realize, right? And
Yes.
my reason for going into talking about the wind stuff is because going through something so strong and having to relearn everything in that process of awakening, like not everyone has their own pace. Mine happened really quick, and
Mhm.
it was so strong, and it was like spirit was like, "You've shut it away your whole life, now it's like boom boom boom, you got to make up for a whole
Yes.
lifetime's work in 1 year." And it was like, it was a lot, and it was amazing and beautiful, but it was a lot to comprehend, because all of a sudden, you know embracing the side of spirit, and I've have angels come to me, I've meditated and gone to the angelic realm and all of that, and it's so incredible that I've got to witness that firsthand, gone from not knowing that anything like that existed to experiencing firsthand like that. I think that that's so beautiful. And I used to feel guilty for all that time. I could have used my gifts. I could have, um, I lost my faith in, I believe in God. Um, there's different ways of looking at God, source, unconditional love, but there is, in my experience, there is this amazing force of creation, and we are not alone, and we are all part of God. Those are my beliefs with it all. We all are made up of unconditional love, right? So I went from not even believing in God and losing my faith, which I had a lot of guilt about, to witnessing everything and learning everything like I did. It was just listening to my soul. It's so amazing, and it all makes sense because I was meant to experience that. I was
Mhm.
meant to go through that, right? And it is hard when you've got, like, 'cause some people are having awakenings and they've got no one to talk to. A lot of people find that their friends fall away from them because they don't connect with them anymore, because when you're learning about yourself, it's like when you have a spiritual awakening. I don't know if it's the same for you, but a lot of people fell out of my life.
Yes. In mine too. I believe
Yeah.
it's the universe's way of saying they're not meant to be there anymore for you to open up to be able to help others and connect to others and be where you're supposed to be going.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so some people are having awakenings, and their families strictly religious, and they look at that sort of thing as being wrong or evil or anything like that. And I feel really sorry for those people, because it's not. It's like, it's so misinterpreted, all this spiritual stuff. It really is. We are all meant to have this connection, right? We've all got it within us. We've all got it laying dormant
Hmm.
inside us. It's incredible. It really is incredible what is lying within us.
Yes.
Like in all those years when I thought that this was all there is, and that my constant struggles was all there is, and that I would never break out of that, to think that that was all inside me all along
Hmm.
is so beautiful. And everybody has it within them,
Yes,
you know.
we do. I think it's beautiful, and the way, once I had my spiritual awakening and started learning about all the things that I could do and learning about other things that other people could do that I potentially could do myself, I realized the movies don't lie.
No,
Those things
it's all
actually
there.
do happen. And we're taught to think, oh, that's just the movies, it's not real, it's supernatural, but it's like, no, I've actually experienced that firsthand in real life. So that it does really happen, and the possibilities are really endless. If you can imagine it and think of it, you can do it. If you put your mind
Mm,
to it and you opened your mind up and you can protect yourself and control your energies, you can do it. I learned
yeah,
how to do remote viewing. I've only done it once, but I mean that we have the possibility to go into our mind and take ourselves somewhere and see what's happening in real time. Those
yeah.
things do happen.
Mm. And like
It's
astral travel as well, that we can step outside of
yes.
our body and go to other
Mhm.
realms. Like, you
Yes.
know, I think did I tell you about my experience when my brother was in a coma?
You did, but I would love to hear it again on this because that story actually
Okay.
helped validate some things for me as well. So I would love for
All
you to
right.
share that if you would
Well,
like.
you were saying about your journey, and then I don't want to sort of take. Do you want me to talk about that after you've spoken about what you were saying?
Oh, I'm all done talking. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. But um, but yeah, like I said before, a lot of things came naturally to me. Um, After, I think the first thing I studied was angelic Reiki, and when I had my attunement, I went up to the angelic realm. I saw the angels and they welcomed me home. They was like, welcome home. Like, that's where my soul's from, right? I discovered that that's where my soul's from. And it was like coming home, and they greeted me. And basically, the symbols that were instilled in me during the attunement, I had, because obviously there's the Reiki master reading them out and stuff.
Mhm.
With angelic Reiki, it's all instilled within you, right? I don't know how other types of Reiki is, but there's this download of these symbols within you. But the angels put a lot of their other symbols within me. It was like I explained it to my Reiki master. He was like, "Oh my God." I explained everything that I saw, and he was like, "Yeah, oh my God, that's what they say that it's like. I can't believe you was actually there." He said, "I've never even seen it like you have." He was completely amazed. That was amazing. But my reason for telling you that is because whatever the angels attuned me, it awakened me to my own soul and a lot of things within me. After that point, I just had so many knowings that I could do stuff without knowing how. So
Mhm.
astral travel was something that I heard about briefly, so I knew that it existed, but I had no idea how to astral travel. But basically, my brother was in a car accident and the car flipped 6 times, flipped a lot of times, and um, he was not in a good way, and he ended up in a coma. And my mum rang me and said that they was being blue lighted up to the top hospital in London, and that my brother was in a coma. And um, and that really worried me, of course. And I really felt I wanted to do something to help him. And I just lay down on my bed for a minute, and I just knew, it just like my soul just told me that I could astral travel to the realm that they go to when they're in the coma. Like, I didn't intellectually learn any of this, or anything about the realm that they go to, a certain realm or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I closed my eyes, just went out of body, called in the angels, traveled there, and I saw in that realm this white mist, and it was like this white light. I can't explain it. It was like so much mist. It was like really foggy, this thick mist all around. And I went in and I found him, and he was very confused. He didn't know what had gone on. And so I spoke to him. I told him what had happened. I told him that he has to wake up, and I did some healing, really intense healing on him. I was drawn to his head, and I did lots of healing with the angels, and using my own my own healing abilities as well and stuff. Really deep healing on him. And eventually I started to get tired, and I intuitively knew that if I fell asleep in that realm, I could get stuck. So I said to him, I said, I've got to go now. I said, but you've got to wake up. You've got to wake up. Sent him some energy and stuff to sort of help with that. Um, and I spoke to him about his daughter and my kids and everything, and he was like, okay, okay. And so I traveled back to, back to my body, um, opened my eyes, and 5 minutes later, my mum called me, and she said that he woke up, but he was in a lot of shock. It happens that he woke up, just timing was spot on from when I left that realm. He was in shock, and he had a lot of tubes down his throat. So he slipped back into it, unfortunately. But so I go about my business, getting ready, jump on a train to go up. And I was on the train, and it was like I could hear him calling me, that he was in trouble. And so when I was on the train, I just relaxed myself and went back there again. And he was screaming out for me. He was like being pulled away into this mist. I could see him, and I grabbed his hand and pulled him in, put strong protection around him, called the angels, sent him some energy, like said that he did really good waking up. But when they're ready for him, when they've got everything ready, he's got to wake up again. He can do it again. Gave him a talk and stuff. And so then the same thing happened. I stayed there as long as I could, and then I got really tired, and I was like, okay, Jessie, I've got to go back. So I came back to my body, and a few minutes later, my mum calls me again and said, Jaimie, he's awake now, and he's okay. So I traveled to the hospital, like the timing and everything, like I knew in my soul that that was real, right? But having the confirmation like that, I still sort of took it like a pinch of salt. Even though I knew that it was real, I still was like, and the timing of both phone calls as well was like impeccable, right? So, and
Yes.
I'm like, okay, like, I know I did that, but I didn't need the confirmation. But that, I did get a lot more confirmation when I went to the hospital. So, but basically, I got there, and my mum was tired, and my uncle was there, and they went home, and I slept in a waiting room, because even though they wouldn't let me see him because he was in ICU. They told me I couldn't see him till the next morning. But eventually they felt bad for me, and they said, okay, you can go in and see him, like when he was a bit more with it. And I spoke to him, and I said, do you remember anything from when he was in a coma? And he sat there and told me what I had said. Like he said he had heard, he remembers hearing me. And he said it was so clear, he thought that I was there next to him. Like he was like, was you next? I was like, no, I was there with you. And he was so lucky, because the next day he left ICU, and he only had like a little scratch on his body. By the time that they did the brain scan, they found nothing. So it's like, I did the healing before the brain scan. That I don't have confirmation of, but I know that that made a huge difference in my soul. I know. And so that was a really amazing experience for me, the fact that I can help him in that way. And I have done a couple other trips to the coma realm. It's very risky, so I don't offer it as a service or anything. I just had two people that I came across, um, that I really felt for, and I wanted to help. So that was my way of helping. And
Alright, my creepies, that was the first half of my interview with Jaimie. If you like that and want to keep listening and hear part 2, make sure that you are subscribed or following my channel. Give this episode a big like for me. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have a spectacular night and keep it creepy. Bye.